So, yeah, I definitely want to play more of it. I think that's an ongoing, fun, late-night chill stream that we can do and enjoy together. But I need to find a way to fit it into the schedule regularly. And right now, with the fact that I'm being pulled in so many directions and my attention is being asked for on so many different games and projects, that I can't really, like, concretely lock it in. It's like, okay, we're going to do Pal World Monday nights or something. Like, I don't know right now. In particular, this week coming up, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a stream on Sunday night. Reason being, every month at the beginning of the month, people pledge to my Patreon. And if they pledge 50 bucks or more, they earn themselves a private video. And it could be a react video where I watch some video content and I react to it. It could be a Q&A video where they provide me with a ton of questions and I just answer them.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop him before he continues to ramble on, because I just have to talk about DSP's inability to make his own schedule, which is just astonishing to me given how obsessed DSP is with his own schedule. He's so obsessed, in fact, that he feels the need to tell his audience the week's schedule every single day when he gets on stream without fail. But it seems like more and more often now he's having difficulty scheduling the games and telling you when he's going to be playing certain things or when he's going to be doing certain streams. I don't know if anybody made him aware, but he's the one that's making the schedule and he can do anything that he wants whenever he wants, and everybody just has to kind of deal with it. I've never seen anybody who makes their own schedule struggle with it so bad before. If DSP were a normal style individual and had a normal style job and his boss told him, I don't care when you come in, just come in, get the job done and go home when you're done, would he struggle to do that as well? Because he doesn't even have a boss telling him to do that. He can quite literally play any game he wants whenever he wants. I just don't understand, but I guess that's kind of par for the course when discussing DSP, because very rarely does anything in this Snortex actually make any sense to me. But go on, DSP, you were talking about how you might have to do private style reacts for Slayer?
I've actually done many different videos over the years. Sometimes people just did, oh, talk about a certain topic for 25 minutes, and I've done that. So the thing is, every month this is different. Some months, it's just Slayer. And Slayer has had me do so many different things over the last year. K-pop reactions, food reactions, tourism reactions, all kinds of stuff. And I don't know what he's going to do this month. I actually have no clue. But then sometimes I get Q&A. Sometimes I get other stuff. So last month, I thought I was just going to have 1 or 2 videos, and I had 5. Okay? So this month, I don't know what's lining up. You know, it's another couple days till I'll really find out. If there's only 1 or 2 videos to do, then I could probably squeeze those in between streams or late one night, and therefore I'll be able to stream on Sunday night. But if it's like 3, 4 or more, I need time to sit down and dedicate to doing that. And it looks like that would probably have to be Sunday night, and that means I can't stream Sunday night.
So just like always with DSP, he has no idea how to manage his time, and he's made that very evident right here and right now. Because he thinks that he needs an entire night carved out to react to 3 or 4 private videos? Why does he insist on getting them all done at once, or even all at once during the beginning of the month? If he has that many to do and it is a huge time investment, it's only a once-a-month reward. He could gradually do them throughout the month, 1 or 2 a week, and just squeeze them in between streams, and he could absolutely do his Sunday night stream as he always does. He doesn't have to get all of them done the very first week that they're redeemed on Patreon, especially if it's going to be an actual detriment to the content that he produces on his main channels. You know, the channels that he's supposed to be treating completely professional because they're his business dude. And this is just my personal take, but you would think that DSP, Mr. Business Degree, would understand that the perks that you offer your members should be scalable in a way that isn't a detriment to the rest of your business. There's a reason that your perk reward should not be every single person who subscribes to my Patreon will receive an hour-long phone call with me once a week, because obviously you cannot sustain that or you would never create another piece of content. So the entire idea of doing these private style reacts just isn't a very good one. As scummy as it was, hiding all of the events that he would do behind a paywall actually made more sense. All I know is that Slayer must be paying a pretty penny to keep DSP doing these private style reacts, because he's made it very clear that he's not actually interested in any of the content that he's reacting to for Slayer. In fact, he has expressly stated that he does not like K-pop, and very often Slayer is making him watch K-pop. Why anyone would want to watch a 41-year-old man react to K-pop that they very clearly don't care about is beyond me. But hey, everybody's into something, I guess.
Okay? So this leads into the topic I wanted to talk about. Someone had a really good idea, and they sent it to me, and I really appreciate that. And the thing is, I don't really want to say who it is because I don't want them to be harassed, and I don't know if they're interested in getting a shout out for it or not. They didn't mention that in their message. But listen to this idea.
So not only do we not give shout outs to the person who's making all of our thumbnails and the person who's doing all of the work over on DSP Throwbacks with the AI upscaling, but we also can't give a shout out to a fellow Dent who has graced us with this genius idea that DSP is about to let us in on. There's just something about not giving credit to the people who deserve it that really irks me. You guys know me. Every time that I take a clip or I have art done or I get a song done, I have to tell everybody who it came from. I want to shout out these people. If I'm hearing an idea from somebody and I like it and I'm going to give that idea to you guys, I'm going to shout that person out. Because I personally think that anybody who's contributed anything really deserves their dues. But of course, DSP doesn't feel like that. Because even when people were putting 50 hours a week into Project 7, he couldn't even be bothered to pay them the money he was making off of it. But let's go ahead and hear this idea. I'm ready for it now.
Okay, so as you guys know, I have a throwback channel, right? DSP Throwback. Right now, every day, there is a new part of a playthrough going live from my old archives of content that were lost to YouTube. You know, these videos were live over 14 years ago, and for various reasons they were deleted from YouTube. Most of it, hacking, you know, people hacked the channels or whatever. So now we're trying to get them up for posterity purposes, upgraded to be 30-minute parts, better thumbnails, better titling, and ran through AI so it's upscaled to look better and has better frame rate. For the most part, these videos are like mind-blowing. I watched them, I'm like, I can't believe this old crappy fuzzy really bad camera footage sounds and looks this good. It blows me away that it sounds and looks that good, okay?
You know, me and my audience actually just watched that stream this past weekend on my morning Saturday stream. Link will be in the description and hopefully on the pop-up right now. And I was also blown away by how absolutely terrible it still looked, despite all of the hype that you put into it. You basically couldn't read any of the text that was on screen, it was so blown out. The shadows on screen were also such a dark black that you could barely make out what was going on anytime there was any sort of shadows in the image, which in turn meant that you basically couldn't make out most of the character models during the gameplay because the sun was just so bright and the character models were so dark. I was also blown away by how bad your modern commentary was over top your old commentary. You really didn't add anything other than a bunch of excuses as to why you used to say all of the terrible things that you used to say in your playthroughs. And I'm not even going to go into the fact that you stopped the video 70 times in the span of an hour and a half so that you could give some sort of little side note that didn't matter. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the stream was very clearly meaningful and robust. Sound good? Sounds good to me. And by the way, categories.
But right now, that's the only consistent content on DSP Throwback. One day there's a Red Dead Redemption 1 video, the next day there's a Final Fantasy 13 video. And I've been watching them every day when they go live to title them properly. I think right now, Red Dead is up to part 10, but I think we have like 12 or 13 videos already done, just, you know, scheduled out for the week. And then Final Fantasy, we're up to part 18 and climbing. So you're talking 9-10 hours in Final Fantasy so far, and we're about 5-6 hours into Red Dead. So if you look at the scope of the games, we're about a quarter through them, okay? That's not bad for about 3 weeks of work, getting a quarter through each of the games. Which tells us that probably by like March-ish, we'll probably be finishing those games.
He said that he's watching these videos every day when they go live so that he can title them. How is he titling them before they go live? Are they being released with no title and then he's actively updating it in YouTube Studio? Or is he watching them the day they're supposed to go live and then titling them then before they're public? This is a genuine question coming from somebody who doesn't actually believe that DSP is the one titling these videos, because that's very clearly too much work for him. Also, after watching his React stream, stream to his own Red Dead Redemption remastered footage, I genuinely believe that he hasn't seen that gameplay or heard any of that commentary before sitting down for that very stream. So how could he have possibly have titled that video? But I love that he says after 3 weeks of work, we're about a quarter into both of those games. 3 weeks of work for who, DSP? You haven't done anything. You haven't made the thumbnails, I don't believe you titled them, and you're not the one putting the footage through the AI upscaler. He always manages to talk in a way that makes it sound like he's doing more work behind the scenes than he actually is. And I'm constantly on the fence whether or not he's doing that on purpose, because he is genuinely a scumbag that wants to make his dents think that he puts in so much hard work behind the scenes, or if he's just stupid and doesn't know how to talk and use the English language to accurately describe exactly what's going on. Sometimes I think it's one and sometimes I think it's the other.
Okay, and then we can move on and say, what's next? Would you like to see LA Noire, the other missing playthrough? Excuse me. The other missing playthrough that was lost to time and isn't available anywhere? Or would you like to see me take one of my other classic playthroughs from way back in the day that looks absolutely atrocious and sounds terrible, but upgrade it for a modern audience and re-upload it in this new format to DSP Throwback? So it's going to be interesting to see what people want next once we get through these games, okay? But someone came up with a really interesting idea based on a stream that I did almost 2 weeks ago.
Holy shit, I totally forgot that he was supposed to be telling us this glorious idea. I got totally distracted by him giving me the entire rundown on DSP throwbacks again. How does he manage to do that all of the time? I talk about this a lot with one of my friends in a Discord call, but DSP manages to say so many words and talk for such a long period of time without actually saying anything that you do genuinely get distracted and forget what the entire point was. Or just flat out giving up trying to keep track of all his bullshit lies so that you can debunk him. So you wind up just giving up and saying, yes, DSP, whatever you say, I don't care anymore. If DSP has a talent, it is this. I've never seen anybody else be able to wear on someone mentally so much so that they just give up or completely forget what the point was. And I think that's why detractor commentary channels like this do as well as they do, because it absolutely helps to break DSP up and to keep track of all of the things with another person. But tangent aside, please, DSP, get to the point of this idea. What are we actually talking about?
If you remember, if you remember, all right, I did a stream, all right, a late night stream that was called Retro React. And during that, okay, that time, I was reacting to the original Red Dead playthrough for about 2 hours. And it was interesting because it was the first time that I'd actually gone back and listened in detail to my old commentary. Those old videos, you know, I uploaded them. That was it. I never went back and rewatched my old stuff. I was just constantly playing another new game. I didn't have time to watch my old stuff. Once it was live, it was live. You guys watched and enjoyed it, and that was it for me. For example, there's things that became such memes over the years from my content, but I didn't even know what you were referencing. You would come on a stream or be in a video comment and you'd say like, nothing I could do, why am I toxic? And I'd be like, I have no clue what they're talking about. I don't even remember when I referenced that stuff.
And this to me just tells me that DSP doesn't actually care about the quality of his content. I know that that was very obvious before, but this is a direct confirmation from DSP. Because if you aren't willing to watch your content to verify that it is up to a standard that is watchable, there's no way that I can believe that you care about it at all. Again, me personally, I have to watch back every single one of my videos. Now, am I saying that I don't miss things and that I don't mess up still? Absolutely not. But what I can tell you is I watch every single video back, and anytime I hear a line that I don't particularly like myself as a viewer, I go back and I remove it. Anytime that I think that there's a bad cut or the audio sounds off, I try and fix it for myself before putting it out for you. DSP pretty much just confirmed that he's never watched any of his content back before. So how could he have possibly ever improved without knowing what his content was like before as a viewer? And I couldn't imagine being so out of touch with your community that you don't understand the things that they're referencing that come from your own content. So not only could he not be bothered to remember something that he said or did during his own content, but he also couldn't be bothered to go back and look into it to figure out what the hell people were talking about. So you know that maybe he could lean into it and make it a part of his community as a running joke that everybody can get in on and find funny. Obviously he couldn't do that because that doesn't lead directly into him making more money, dude. Growing a community around your content so people come back time and time again to continue to watch your content sounds like a waste of time, dude.
Because for me, you know what they say? For you, the day that bison graced your village was the most important day of your life, but for me it was Tuesday, right? Yes, let's do a Street Fighter movie quote here. No, the point I'm making is, for me, that kind of stuff is just a one-time thing that happens in a video, and I don't ever go back to it or re-experience it other than the original time I do it or say it. For you, it becomes this meme, this viral-worthy thing because you all talk about it amongst the community. You know, there's videos made of it and stuff. I'm not aware of any of that. I'm just here every day making more content, making more streams, so I'm ignorant to it all, right?
But you shouldn't just be ignorant to it, DSP. You should be leaning into it. You should be learning about the things that your community is talking about. That's the kind of feedback that you actually need from your audience, not these, oh, which thumbnail do you guys like, this one or this one, style segments. Actually being in touch with your audience and understanding who they are as a community can greatly help your situation with your streams. It's a tool that you can utilize, and I really just don't understand how you keep missing these important aspects to being an online content creator the way that you do.
So anyway, this retro react stream did really good, had good attendance, pretty good support, and I really enjoyed it. And the consensus was, hey Phil, could you just do that again? Because we loved what you just did. You know, we want you to continue doing this react style content to your old content. And I was like, well, yes, but the problem is, sadly, we're on the precipice of new releases. And so this week with Tekken 8 and Like a Dragon coming out the same day, and me having to juggle those with the ongoing other stuff I'm doing, I don't have time to do one this week. Now, I had every intention of doing one next week, but then I realized, oh crap, it's the beginning of February, and now I'm probably going to have to do Patreon private react videos, and when am I going to do that? So if I can't stream on Sunday night, if I do this on Monday, that takes away from me playing another game, you know? And here we go. So it's just this endless cycle of everyone wants to see me do stuff, but I'm only one guy, and I'm so in demand doing so many different projects that I can't do them all, right?
Well, do you know what really helped your situation, DSP? If you didn't spend 2+ hours every single day doing a podcast where you do nothing but complain about the money that you're not receiving and talking about how you don't have time to do anything. If you instead just decided to play the games that you were supposed to be playing, you would be making the progress that you need to be making in order to unlock the co-op mode that you've been bitching about, so that you can get your wife on stream and monetize her. If instead of doing that worthless pre-stream, you decided to record those private react style videos for your patrons, you wouldn't have to cancel your Sunday night stream to do them. Then you could do all the DSP throwback style streams that you want. But I know, that's actually a solution. And of course, when DSP is complaining about something, he's not actually looking for a solution. He just wants to complain because that's his favorite thing to do, other than obviously pull Hogan's and drink gin.
So, what am I talking about? Well, someone had a great idea. They said, you know, you reacting to Red Dead was like a revelation. People watched it and were like, wow, that was really entertaining to see you react to your old style of commentary.
Who were these people? Because like I said, we watched this on my stream and there was really no entertainment to be had other than laughing at the guy as detractors typically do. If you were a genuine fan of DSP, I don't know how you could find any of that entertaining. But of course, it was a revelation for people. They were absolutely godsmacked at how entertained they were watching DSP watch DSP.
But why are you limiting yourself just to the content that you're uploading to that channel? Because you have 15 years of stuff that you can react to. Now, no one's asking me to react to stuff that I just did. But imagine, and this is the idea that they came up with. Basically, once a week, I do a retro react stream, and it's a completely different game. So, one week, I react to my classic Heavy Rain playthrough. The next week, I react to my Bloodborne playthrough, the original one, right? Or maybe my original Dark Souls playthrough where I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and now I can watch myself back 14 years later and cringe at how bad it was because I didn't understand anything in it, right? Something like that. Yeah, and so The thing about that is that that has endless possibilities. I don't ever have to go back to one of the games and do it a second time. I could just react to the first 2 hours of any playthrough. And I've done so many playthroughs over the years, I have infinite content. Or what we could do is an ongoing situation where you guys can vote on that channel for what you want to see.
And look at how excited he was when he was explaining this idea to us. This is the most excited and passionate that I've seen DSP for a very long time when it comes to actually discussing content on his channel. Obviously, his freakouts are always full of passion and we get those semi-regularly now, but genuine interest in the content that he's going to make in the future, not so much. But of course, the content that he's excited about making is the laziest content that he can make. Him sitting there watching himself do terrible commentary and play video games terribly and going, oh my god, I was so stupid, I would never say things like that anymore, for multiple hours in a row. That's all that content is. He thinks that that's the best idea that he's ever heard and it's gonna bring in the cash 100% guarantee. It goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, obviously that idea is gonna get very old very quickly, even for the most supportive dens. But go ahead, DSP, pull the trigger on this idea, because I would love to see this one crash and burn just as all the other ones have.
So for example, let's say that I decide that the next week, which I'm not saying this is going to happen, but let's say I decide next week we're going to do a retro react stream. You get 4 options and I make a poll. Option number 1, continue with Red Dead Redemption 1. Option number 2, react to my original Dark Souls run. Option number 3, react to my original Bloodborne run. And option number 4, react to Heavy Rain. Okay? So those would be the 4 options. And then you guys vote over the course of a week over what the retro react you want to see, and that's what we do that night. And then by the end of that night, we talk on stream and we say, well, what do you guys want? Did you like this? Do you want this to be an option for next week? What other games are you guys interested in? And I field your ideas, and that becomes the poll for the next week that you guys vote on. So basically, it's an ongoing show that once a week we go back to my past as a creator and I react to the old stuff I used to do, but it's a revolving door of content. It's like it never has to be go back to the same thing. We could go back multiple weeks to the same thing, but if you get bored, we could do something different the next week. Right?
This entire idea is just creatively bankrupt. There's nothing interesting or original about this. And it's very clearly designed around the idea that his audience is going to be voting on all of the things that they want to see, so when the streams don't do well and it's a low support, he can shirk all of the blame onto them and pull the classic, this is what you guys wanted, I'm only doing what you asked for, okay? Sound good? So, where's my money, dude? I'm sorry for my impression of DSP, but that's about how I see it going, including the snorting and the lip smack. The entire idea just smells of low effort and zero accountability on DSP's behalf. But like I said, DSP, go for it. I would love to see this fail.
So there you go. I think that'd be pretty neat, and that would actually give ongoing content to the throwback channel. That's not just, oh, the original Red Dead playthrough and the original Final Fantasy playthrough. It would give more content to the channel for you to watch that wouldn't be the same stuff that would end up kind of being boring. Like already I can tell you, we're 3 weeks into DSP Throwback. The viewership completely fell off for the playthroughs of Final Fantasy 13 and Red Dead. Not to say that people aren't still watching. They are. But, you know, we went from having 300, 500 viewers per video down to like 150. And I think what will happen is over time, people will slowly watch those playthroughs more and the views will climb, but there's no rush. I mean, that channel's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, there's absolutely no massive rush. Once people saw the first few videos, said, oh, I see, okay, it's here, this is what we've always wanted, I'll get to it when I get to it, right? Because the first few videos have thousands of views, right? So that's, I think, what it is. It's a slow burn kind of a deal where people will go by and watch when they get a chance.
I very much don't think that that's the case though, DSP. I'm a firm believer that the reason that the first episodes of those playthroughs got as many views as they did is because people, including detractors, were going just to see what it looked like and then they moved on. It was more out of curiosity than an actual interest in the playthroughs themselves. I don't know how you can sit here and expect in the modern year of 2024 that people are gonna go watch your old style playthroughs with the footage looking as shitty as it does and your commentary being just as miserable as it is now, if not worse. I think a couple hundred views is about the best that you could ask for, in all honesty. But hey, what do I know? I don't run a full-time business being a 13-year content creator online, dude.
So, I think that would be neat to have something different. a weekly show called Retro Replay, where I just go back to my past and we all enjoy the retro content and laugh at it together and have a good chill stream. And it's a way to make that channel have more content, similar to DSP Reacts, right? To have a one weekly show that's a staple of the channel that gets people engaged and interested in the channel, so it's a healthy channel, as opposed to, oh, there's just one video a day of those old playthroughs, and every once in a blue moon I go over there and I do something on it, right? So I think that would be neat. And no, John, this would not replace the Sunday React show. I'm not replacing anything on DSP Reacts. That stays the same. Because some people have already said, well, why wouldn't you do that on the React channel? The React channel is for not gameplay. I don't know if people have figured that out yet. I'm not supposed to be doing gameplay on the React channel. The point of the React channel is more vlogging style content or reacting to video content. It's supposed to be a different channel. This channel is for the raw gameplay. The React channel is for reacting to other kinds of stuff. And then the throwback channel is supposed to be celebrating my old content. You see? That's the point.
The situation that he has going on with the 3 different channels for 3 different styles of content is never going to not confuse me. I don't know why he insists on separating his content between 3 channels, making it that much more difficult and that much more tedious to watch all of the content if you do genuinely like him. As a normal style YouTube viewer myself, I often don't watch content creators' second channels. If you have a second channel where you put something on it, unless I really, really like your content, I will never watch anything on that channel because I can't be bothered. And I don't think that that's an uncommon mentality for a YouTube viewer to have. I do think that it would have been a benefit to DSP if he would have released all of this content on his one DSP gaming channel. Obviously, he would have to change how long all of these videos are, because he does this weird thing where he wants to release a video every single day on all of his channels. So he divides all of his streams up into parts and then schedules them throughout the week. So obviously that would have to change, because you can't be releasing 3 or 4 videos a day every single day all week long. But I just can't see how dividing your audience between 3 separate channels is a good idea unless you are specifically trying to triple dip on something like memberships, which, if that was his entire goal, is next level scummy.
So there you go. Now that's the thing. Now let's say that Sunday ends up being React Day, where the first half of Sunday every week we do DSP versus the internet, and every Sunday night we end up doing this retro react. I think that would be amazing. It would break up the ongoing gameplay a little bit, so it's not just gameplay every day, and it would be cool content for the other channels. But you're right, as Eternal Napalm just said, well, that would mean that's less time to make progress in games. You're right. You're absolutely right. So again, it's a trade-off. And the question is, what do people want? Because every time I present this question, people say gameplay. We want gameplay, 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 gameplay. So then I give you gameplay, 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 and then people say, oh, it's stale, it's getting boring because it's just gameplay. Or I get a game like a Dragon, and then people are like, oh, this is, you know, this game's boring. It's like, well, you wanted gameplay. So I'm playing all the new releases because this is what you said you wanted. So that's why I'm doing it. If I didn't get Like a Dragon, you would have complained that I skipped the hot new release, right? So it's like, I can't really, no matter what I do, I just can't please everybody, right? I feel like we're in a situation where as I get older, I do need to diversify my content, okay? I have to. I can't just be gameplay, gameplay, gameplay.
And unfortunately, I have to agree with DSP here. I do think it's a good idea to diversify your content. I know I don't do the best job myself of diversifying, but hey, I'm also trying. But DSP always manages to go about it in the laziest way possible. And instead of sticking to his guns and continuing to do the diversified content, he lets all of these naysayers who only care for one aspect of his content to tell him what to do. Don't get me wrong, it is important to do what your audience wants, but if your goal is specifically to diversify your content, that also has to come with an understanding that some of your audience is not going to be into the other style of content, and that those people will not be watching that content. And that's just something that you have to make peace with. But of course, DSP can't be consistent about anything. One day he's going to tell you that he wants to diversify his content, and the next day he's going to say, well, you guys didn't show up, so I can't change my content. I have to do the same thing to pay my bills. It's almost like sometimes you have to sacrifice something to make any sort of gain. But DSP isn't interested in sacrificing sacrifice. He's not interested in doing anything that's difficult. He's not interested in even making difficult decisions. He just wants to do whatever he wants to do and get paid for it. And when that money doesn't come in, obviously he's going to take an issue with it.
Now, last year, you guys said you wanted React content. I gave you React content. I was reacting to documentaries. I was reacting to other YouTubers' channels like Internet Historian. I was doing tier maker videos. I was doing all kinds of stuff. And the consensus I got was, it's okay to do a tier maker every once in a while. We like to see a food vlog every once in a while. Your weekly React show is great, but don't do any of those long form React marathons and shows anymore. They take up too much time and take too much away from gameplay. So I dropped them entirely per your feedback. Okay? But now, we're getting to a point where now it's like, well, now your gameplay, you know, too much gameplay. This game's boring. It's like, well, then I should do other stuff. Again, it seems like I can't appease everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really trying to listen and take feedback. I got some people telling me, you're skipping too many games. You should be playing more games. And other people are like, you play way too many games. You should focus on only a few so you get through them faster. And it's like, that's completely contradictory feedback. So again, I can't please everyone. I'm not sure what to do about that, right?
Well, I have to reiterate, you would have far more time to do the things that people are asking you to do if you didn't waste so much time doing this useless pre-stream every single day. I mean, really, what have we accomplished by doing this pre-stream, DSP? All you've done is complain and tell us what you're going to do in the future when you really could have just done it and explained it while you were doing it. Or even better yet, you could have just explained it while you were playing a video game like every other streamer does on the site. Because, you know, it's totally normal for a content creator to talk while they play the video game that they're playing, not just sit there in silence and play the game. But of course, you're not like other streamers because you can't do two things at once. Playing a video game and talking to your audience is far too difficult for you to do at the same time.
So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do in this regard, but I'm interested. I like this idea. The idea already was that I was going to just keep reacting to the Red Dead playthrough, but I think reacting to other playthroughs is a better idea. Because that way we won't get bored. There's an infinite plethora of content, 15 years of it, for me to react to. And I know some of those older playthroughs are ones that people would want to see me react to. So, I'm excited for this idea. I just don't know exactly, you know, when I can implement it. I would love to say this Sunday night, but I can't say that. Because I don't even know what's going to happen this week. I might have to take Sunday night off to do these private videos. And if that's the case, then it's definitely not happening Sunday night, okay?
So it's finally come full circle, and we're right back to where we started. DSP is incapable of managing his own schedule. He has no idea when he's going to do the things for his own stream. Like I said, what did we accomplish during this pre-stream? We literally just went full circle, and we are how far into this video? And nothing was accomplished.
So there you go. Anyway. So that's the idea. Give me your feedback on that. I'd like to implement that. One other thing I want to talk about before we get to the schedule and shout outs. This event, the Super Bowl Bash. All right. So, talking with you guys every single day about this basically now, trying to figure this out. Okay. And it seems like, number one, you guys absolutely want some kind of NFL gameplay in it. Now, I don't want to play Tecmo Bowl again because we just did that last year. I don't think that would be very interesting. But one idea that people came up with was why not download the Madden that's available on Game Pass and do a match of the San Francisco 49ers against the Kansas City Chiefs, which is really the match that's going to take place for the Super Bowl the next day in real life.
And I do want to address this before he continues. He was actively trying to make sure that there was no football being played during his Super Bowl event. Yes, you heard me right. He wanted to do a Super Bowl event for his stream and then not have any football whatsoever. It's almost like it would defeat the entire purpose of it being a Super Bowl event to begin with. Every time somebody recommended that he play Madden or any style of football game at all, he would actively try and talk his audience out of it and imply to them that it wouldn't be a good idea and nobody would have fun, so it would be a huge waste of time. But I mean, if there's not going to be any football happening during a Super Bowl event, then why is it even a Super Bowl event? It could have just been any other kind of event. You might as well have just done an event the following week and made it completely unrelated to American-style football.
But I guess the two schools of thought on this are either A, do a simulation of it, so it's like the AI playing each other and we just commentate on it, which could be funny, especially because I'm going to be drinking that day. So maybe just chugging beers or liquor while I'm commentating on this football game. That's number one. Or number two, I could actually try to play as one of the teams. But the thing you got to understand is I don't have time to learn Madden before. So it's just going to be me flubbing around and probably sucking ass and doing horribly. So whoever I pick is going to lose because I don't even know how to play the game. You understand? So there's really, I feel like there's no point. But maybe you guys are so interested in seeing me do gameplay. I don't know. So anyway, it seems like that's what you guys want. Some kind of NFL content that day. And
so of course he's going to be drinking during his Super Bowl event. He drinks in every event now. It's just kind of a staple. But he's implying that he's going to be slamming beers or liquor and doing commentary over a simulated match. But I have to press X to doubt on that because I've never seen DSP slam beers or liquor on stream ever. I think this is him just trying to be hyperbolic to hype people up so that they'll show up to the stream hoping that he's going to be absolutely trashed for this commentary. But I think there's no way that that happens simply because DSP is far too much of a coward, because he's probably worried that if he does do that, if he does wind up getting trashed on stream, that he's going to wind up saying something that he's going to live to regret. But regardless of how much he drinks, the commentary over the simulated match is going to be absolutely terrible anyway, because DSP doesn't know anything about football. It's just going to be a bunch of observational commentary and him cheering for every single time somebody gets hit by another player. Obviously, he'll pop off for an interception and then he'll start talking about how they're hugging and kissing on each other on the field because they're playing tackle football. It's almost guaranteed that he's going to joke about how the quarterback's hand has to be right up against the center's ass so that he can pass the ball to him. So it's not like this is exactly going to be the highest IQ commentary that's ever taken place over a simulated football game.
if that's what you want, I'll give it to you. I just don't want this to be the meat of the show. I want this to be one of the features of the show. You see? Outside of that, what else would you like to see? Again, our ideas, there's two schools of thought here. Number one is online play of games like Tekken 8, Modern Warfare 3, which I haven't played in ages, and it'd be funny to see me do like a buzzed stream of that. Or maybe some Street Fighter 6 going back to it for the first time in ages. Or, on the other side of that, just continuing on with the single player playthroughs I'm doing. So do a little bit of Pal World. Do a little bit of, whatchamacallit, Tekken 8. Right? Learn a new character, perhaps. Mess around with the character. Or maybe do more Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth for an hour or something, right?
So the second half to DSP's Super Bowl event is either going to be a multiplayer style stream or literally playing the games that he is already playing. How exciting is that, you guys? You get to see him do the same thing that he's been doing all week long. Isn't that super refreshing and cool? I know I said this earlier about his DSP throwback stream idea, but it remains true for this as well. It's completely creatively bankrupt. There is nothing interesting or original going on here. He's actually trying to sell his audience on just letting him play the same games that he's been playing all week long and will continue to play the following week. And if that's what's gonna happen, what is so special about this event? What makes this any different than any other day? Also gotta point out the fact that he said play Street Fighter 6 for the first time in ages, like he didn't just play it, what, 2 weeks ago? So by the time that this event rolls around, it'll be what, 3 weeks? Oh yeah, DSP, that's so long ago. You haven't played a game in 3 weeks. Literally ages.
So all those are good options, right? But we have to figure this out, and we have about a week and a half to figure that out. All right, so let's continue to talk about it every day, and I want your feedback. By the way, I'm about to sneeze. Oh. Holy moly. Oh. Oh, man. Ooh.
So he managed to tell us in advance that he was going to have to sneeze but couldn't bother to mute his mic when he walked away so that you can continue to hear him blow his nose on the other side of the room. Thanks, DSP. That's very meaningful to me.
Oh, okay. Got me. Right here in the middle of me talking to you, all of a sudden I got a tickle in my nose. I was like, oh boy. I had to run and sneeze. Hooey. Okay. So let's continue to talk about this event and figure it out. All right. I want to do something that's entertaining to you, something that's fun. And you know, like I said, what I'm hoping is that this idea, number one, it's a fun event we're just doing for the sake of doing it for fun. But it just so happens that now with what happened this month with the bogus memberships, this could definitely be a day to rally support. And hopefully this day, perhaps I could rally some tips, which would certainly help me with bills and stuff at that point in the month. Okay? So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, so that's coming up. That's Saturday, February 10th. Let's now talk about the schedule for the next week.
Yeah, let's not say that we didn't. So even after expressly stating to his audience that he's not doing this event to try and rally any support or make sure that he can pay his bills next month, this is not some sort of emergency save the house style stream event. He did just say that's pretty much half of the purpose of this event now that it's convenient. Not that that was the original intention, but it just so happened to work out this way, so hopefully we can get the support, you guys. And of course he had to make sure he included that when talking about the event before moving on to talking about the schedule. It was just so important he couldn't forget to mention that he needs a rallying of support. What a scumbag. But that's the end of the video, so big ups to everybody who watched it, especially if you made it this far. And a special big ups to all of my members. I really appreciate all of you guys individually as people, I promise. But hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video, but until then, make sure that you check out other detractor content and dive deeper into that. Snortex.